is the Ranger. We found it in a field in Wyoming, pretty much buried up to here in gravel and crap. Been in a front end collision a little bit, but got all that straightened back out, built some cool stuff for it. The plan with this truck was we wanted to make a cash days, so we decided in a couple weeks we were going to do it. And then what really ended up happening was it boiled down to about 2 days to make the cash days. I had built the engine already and dropped it in with the transmission. The engine's just a stock 5.3. It's got a few small things inside of it to keep oil pressure up and do that sort of thing, but other than that, cam, valve springs, and a 76 millimeter turbo, 75 millimeter turbo. It's a Borg Warner S475, just a Chinese eBay style manifold on it. With this particular setup, we wanted it to go pretty fast, but we don't really have the budget or the room to get it all crazy up here, so we ended up building a whole custom front setup for it using this Jeep style radiator, kind of low and wide. Made it so we get a lot of cooling in a little space, but we don't have enough room forward, so that's where we came up with this low mount intercooler with fans. Yes, that's going to be a whole topic of people saying how that doesn't work, but it's been pretty good for us, at least to this last cash days. So worked out all right. We put a TH400 behind this one, manual valve body, just transmission I built out of just a core trans. Seemed to work pretty good. The Ranger is a 1985 Ranger. It had all the body work done where they shaved the door handles and the drip edges and all that. At one point in its life, it was a pretty neat little truck. We just trying to resurrect it and get it going decent. The rear end setup on it, it's got a decent sized tire for a stock Ranger. 28 1050 tire. It's got a narrowed 8.8 Explorer with 3 inches cut off one side, 31 spline axles. It's got Viking Crusaders in the rear with Caltrax. What else? Fuel systems, just a cheap fuel cell with the Holley twin pump setup in it, -10 feed line and -8 return. Don't really know what else with the truck. The goals were really just try and compete in the cash days and see what we could come up with in a very short amount of time. We ended up pulling an all-nighter, trying to get to the cash days. We drove it there with absolutely, like, we first started this entire combo, trans, engine, everything, had never been ran before. Started at 3:30 in the morning, 3:50 in the morning, something like that. And then the race started at 6 a.m. So we got it fired up. Luckily, it has a Holley engine management on it. We were able to drive it to the race spot and tune it on the way. So I was driving, Travis was in the passenger seat tuning, and basically we would do a small pull on the way out to the race spot. Travis would adjust the tune, slow down, try it again. Basically dialed it into where it wouldn't kill us first pass out. And then aside from just a completely untested truck with who knows how many things, because we had the rear end all out, front suspension all out. It's a axle flipped rear with the 4-inch drop spindles and beams in the front. So it's a completely different suspension than when we started. Untried, untested everything. And we actually ended up, I mean, for just going out and doing pretty much no testing, our first hit was our first pass in the entire truck ever, period. So we barely skated by and were able to like make it out there basically right as the race started. So luckily we did that, but can only go up from here. Unfortunately, we got knocked out first round, but it was not a lack of trying. We had about 60% off time and about 40% on time of throttle. So it was squirrely to say the least, but it can go up from there. So it's a good breakdown, good little test hits. Had no problem driving out there and driving back, which put a good 20 miles on it, 25 miles on it each way. So I don't know, we'll improve from there. Definitely gonna need some safety equipment. Definitely gonna need some suspension adjustments, but we'll see where it can go from there.
And some fenders.
Maybe fenders, maybe a hood.